Now that my video is still processing, let's do this tier list. So my friend told me about this tier list, and yeah, I just fiddled around with it a bit, but let's just get into it. Now it's late at night, I'm not supposed to be speaking really loudly, so if you have to, please turn up your volume. Let's go. I'm just gonna reset it. And yeah, you can see all the buses right here. I'm just gonna add a new row. Okay, this one should be D, and then this one should be E, and this one should be F. Okay, so here are the buses that we're gonna be ranking. Now, obviously, we all have our personal preferences, our likes and dislikes, but I'm gonna be ranking this objectively, like whether these buses are actually good or bad. Okay, so let's go. So the first one is Mercedes-Benz 0405G. Now, first up, as much as I like this model, you have to remember that the 0405s, Mercedes-Benz buses in the 90s, they tend to overheat very easily, and the reason for that is because their cooling system was really bad. But overall, if you maintain it well, it's still a solid bus that can probably last like around 30 years, I would say. So for that, I'm just gonna put it in C tier. Okay, and the next one, okay, I'm not really gonna go in order, so I see this. It's like Volvo B10M Mark IV. Not Mark II, not Mark III, but Mark IV. There is like Duplo Matsec 3500, and Strider, so I'm just gonna like lump all of them into a single one. Now, obviously, this one goes in S tier, and I'll explain why. Yes, they aren't like perfect buses by any means, but Volvo buses in that era, like in general, if you maintain them well, they can last like 35 years to like 40 years. I'm not even joking. It's like a really solid bus that it's like the chassis is good, and when you pair it up with a decent bodywork, it's just a really sturdy bus. And if it's not speed limited, it can really cruise on the highway, and the seats are like, if you've taken these buses, you would know that objectively speaking, it's really comfortable. So with that being said, and I think Maxon would agree as well, it goes in S tier, like just no question about it. Maybe some B10Ms are not as good, but Mark IVs in general, they're just really solid, so I'm just gonna put them in S tier. Now this one, I'm not sure if this is 1688 or 2888. So this one is, it's either Scania L94UB or Volvo B10 BLE, because it's low entry. It's the diesel version. I have never like ridden this before, so I cannot really rate it. But my friend, I think he put it at like C tier. It's like not not good, but not too bad either. But truth to be told, I've never ridden on it, so I'm just gonna put it here. Now this one, BYD K9, the production batch, not 4001. F tier. And the reason being, the turning radius is absolutely horrible. I'm just gonna put it here. Now, our favorite silly B5LH. I'm gonna put it in C tier. Yes, as much as I like it, I have to admit that it is a kind of not so good model. Can even say it's crap. It's just hybrid buses in general, they're just really problematic. I'm not really sure how to explain it, but it's just really problematic to maintain. You need diesel, you need electricity, and sometimes it just doesn't function the way you want it to function. And in the past, CNGs were like, kind of problematic because it's just not easy to maintain them, especially if you don't have like enough facilities for them. They have to go to like Jurong Island just to refuel. So this is basically the modern version of B10 BLE in terms of problems, as in it's not really the successor of it by any means, but in terms of how problematic it is, I'll put it at C tier. Some of my friends have it at D tier, but I'll put it at C. Okay, so now let's move on to MAN NL323F A22. So I don't really have much to say about this one, but uh, it's decent. Yeah, it's MAN buses, they might be prone to like, a few problems here and there, but I think the Euro 5s are like quite decent if you know how to maintain them well, and Seletar Depot doesn't know how to maintain well, so I guess it remains at C. Now next one will be this SG4003D, and this one ends up in like D tier for me. Like, it's not that bad, but people always joke that this bus was like made to run to the workshop instead of running on revenue service. I'm not sure what are the actual problems with the bus, but it just spends a lot of time in the workshop. So unfortunately, I have to put this at D tier. Yes, it had potential, but 4003 is just not good. Like, even during its SBS transit days. Now it's even more terrible, but back then it still wasn't so bad, so I'm just putting it at D. Now it's bad because the private operator that now owns this bus, they don't even clean it at all. It's just terrible. So yeah, putting it at D. Okay, I love this bus. Not necessarily the best one, but in terms of nostalgia, I love it. And I don't really have anything much to say about this bus. I cannot really fault it, but it's definitely better than like these three buses. So I'm just gonna put it at B. Now this one, I assume, is a Volvo Mark III and not a Volvo Mark II. If it was a Volvo Mark II, I would have put it at around, if there was an in between like B and C, I would put it there. And it's probably because like the ones with like converted aircon, uh they were NAC, they became CAC, and unfortunately it just gets stuffy due to like reasons. But just to clarify, this is a Mark III, this is not a Mark II. So Mark III's, unfortunately, when you compare it to Mark IV's, it's kind of underwhelming. Especially the Voith ones, the ZF ones, 876 and 877. I took it once. It was okay. There was nothing stand out about it. It was just like, okay. And I honestly forgot the reason why the Mark threes, they were like kind of underwhelming. I'm not sure if it has something to do with like fuel efficiency or performance wise, but if I have to rate it as a whole, it's not terrible, but it's not good either. So I'm just gonna put it at C. Maybe my friend can explain why. I'll ask him. And then Citaro, Mercedes-Benz Citaro 0530. This is C1, not C2. I don't even know if C1 exists, but this is the facelifted version of the original Citaro. C for Citaro. The reason why the Citaro isn't any higher is because many people, like when it comes to like Southeast Asia's demographics, they just don't like the seats, and they just don't really like how cramped it is. And yeah, it's not really suitable for like when you need to fetch a lot of passengers. It is comfortable like when it's raining or like for short distances, but it's not really like the best bus tailored to like Southeast Asia, like in general, especially since the climate here is like hot and humid. So it's not really the best bus for that. The aircon is like when it's raining it's good, but on hot days it's just not powerful enough. And yeah, the acceleration is bad. And SBS Transit has like this bad habit. They are like notorious for like, I mean, so is LTA, but right now, but like back then, SBS Transit was notorious, and it was just an SBS Transit day. It, it was just an SBS Transit thing. SMRT didn't really downtune them, but SBS Transit, they had a bad habit. They were notorious for like downtuning their buses a lot, which, yeah, powerless. They couldn't climb hills or whatever. But it's not too bad. I'm gonna put it at C. Now this one, I'm gonna shift it up. This one, okay. So in the past, there was DAF SB220LT. That one was ZF. CSS had them, but this one over here is this one is Voith. I'm not sure which Voith it uses. Is it like 3.1.4 or the 800 series, or is it 3.4.3? I cannot remember, but this one is DAF SB220 without the LT. I'm not really sure what the LT means, but yeah. And this one is quite a solid bus. I don't really have anything bad to say about it. So I guess it belongs in the same category as the Nissan Diesel. Overall, it's quite okay. Right. SBS 7888K, I'm gonna put it C. I've only ridden this bus once. It was okay. And because the double decker is going into C tier, let me see if there's a KUB. Okay, there is a KUB. So for any one of you that doesn't know, this is Scania K310 UD, 310 horsepower. This one, 230 horsepower, K230UB. So the U means urban and I means like inner city, which is used for coaches. D is for double decker and B is like used for just single deckers, rigids, or just normal coaches, not double decker coaches, but just normal coaches. And these are like the K series. Now the KUB in particular, especially the KUB, they just vibrate a lot. And it's not really a KUB thing to vibrate a lot. I know Scanias are just Scanias and they are kind of problematic at times. They might not be the nicest to drive, but like it's mass produced, and because of that, Gemilang kind of cheaped out on it, and that's why the bodywork isn't really that good, but it isn't so bad to the point whereby I've, I have to put it in D, E, or F. Because even after, you have to remember, like, even after like 15, 16 years of service, they are still holding together like decently well. So C is fair enough for them. Now, CDGE. Uh, I'm gonna put it at C just because it just slightly edges out 4003. So for people who don't know, this is B8L, this is B9TL. The T just means transverse, which means like the engine of the bus is mounted like laterally. Don't really know how to say that, but yeah, the T just refers to how like the engine is mounted. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, please. So these things, yes, they may be loud, but they are really so horrible to the extent that it belongs in the D, E, and F tiers. So that's pretty much about it. Now, this tissue box, SBS 8002T, unfortunately, a hybrid is a hybrid and it's prone to like many issues. And I don't think I should elaborate on it, otherwise the video would be too long. It's already 17 minutes, so yeah, but in general, the tissue box caused more problems than the silly bee. But the tissue box, it looked nice, like it was a nice bus to snap. It was decent to ride, but again, it had issues during its run. So unfortunately, it belongs in D. Alright, I see this. Actually, I'm gonna put it at B. Okay, so this is Mercedes-Benz 0405. It's Volgren. Now this Volgren is definitely better than like the Hispano Carrocera or like Pininfarina Hispano Habit. Bodywork wise, it was like a little better. It was just a nice bus. Like when this thing debuted in, I forgot which year, but it's like late 1990s to early 2000s. Like when this thing debuted, it was like people said this was like, the bus that you had to wait for. It was that good. And even SMRT, probably because of its nice design and everything, like they pushed this bus a lot. It was used in all the like amendment posters and everything. And I think even the Night Rider services, NR1 to NR22, they used this because of like how good it was. I guess I've rode on this like quite a number of times, and I think they were all pretty good. So I'll put it at B. Okay, I see this. Now, based on how the front's design is, I think this is the Sunlong. Unfortunately, as unique as it is, it's crap. Nothing much to say about this. Oh, I see the B10 BLE. I'm gonna put this at C. Then again, this thing and this thing were quite similar. This one was just a pain to like refuel at Jurong Island. and this thing is just a hybrid, does what a hybrid does best. So both of them are kind of similar. Alright, I also see two buses that deserve to be in A tier. Now, Yutong, I don't know if I'm saying that correct. They're currently the best China bus maker right now. And with good reason. It's like, yes, we joke about this being fish tank and this being the pandan loaf bread, smack toaster and everything, but it's just like, right now they're purchasing a lot of crap. They aren't even continuing to purchase this or this, which is just such a letdown. LTA's deputy director for bus assets is really sick in the head for not continuing the purchase of these buses. Like, they were solid. Like, okay, admittedly they were kind of boring, but or had little character, but like, come on, they're like solid buses. Like, I cannot really fault these because when I took it, yeah, it was a boring ride, but it was uneventful for good reason. Like, with good reason. They were solid, like legit. Performance wise, it was good, it was stable enough, and the buses didn't really pose too many issues. And it's kind of ironic that I'm ranking like an electric bus over these diesel buses, but come on, I have to be fair. And to be honest, I think these are actually the go-to electric buses from China. Oh, I see this. Unfortunately, I've never ridden this. I've never ridden this. I haven't even known people who have ridden these. These are King Longs. This one was used for like the Olympic Games in 2010. Oh, sorry, it was YOG, not Olympic Games. This one was fuel cell. But honestly, I think one of them had like only 200 HP, which was kind of pathetic. And one of them, when it went over a hump or something, the bus just couldn't move anymore. It just got stuck. You can say these belong in F tier, but to be honest, I've never really ridden on it, so I can't really judge them. Okay. At one glance, yes, every single one of every single one of these three-door buses belongs in the F tier. Like, there's no two ways about it. And then this one, engine is strangled. I don't know why a lot of people, they're saying this bus is good, but objectively it's really crap. And I would even be tempted to put like this one, the man bus, slightly over the Enviro. But I think I'll just leave it like this. I don't even want to talk much about these. They're crap. Okay, speaking of man bus, I think this is Euro 5 and this is Euro 6. I'm just put it at D. Cause I cannot put them at C. This one, in terms of weight, is just too light. And I don't really have anything good to say about these also, so to be fair, I'm just gonna put them like this. Now this one, it belongs in the same tier as K9. This is C6, but this and this are equally trash. Now this one, Volvo B10M RLE. Okay, to be honest, I'm not even really sure if this one is called a B7 RLE. It's like there is like some confusion between this one and this one. This is like Volvo B5 RLEH. But then there have been debates of whether it should be called this. But I'm pretty sure this one is a B7 RLE. Like, there's no two ways about it. I'll just put it as C. I've ridden on it once, Okay, the transmission sounds like an in-between of a KUB and an OC, as in this OC, Mercedes-Benz OC 500 LE. This bus is like low-key problematic. I'm not sure why it's problematic, but it's not so problematic to like this one, so I'll just put it as C. Okay, I found this. Mercedes-Benz 0405. Hispano Carrocera. There's OAC and there's CAC. I'm gonna just lump them together and put them at C. So we have this and this. Again, the same problem. These buses, as fast as they were really prone to overheating, and I am not even joking about it. Anyway, where's the SBS version? Okay, I found it. There's a CT, I don't know if it's CT 818 or 28, but it absolutely pains me to do this, but this belongs in E tier. Because a common sight would be they would open, like, you know, the back of the bus, there's an engine compartment. They would literally open this at the bus interchanges and terminals. They would do that whenever the bus like layovers, just to cool it off. This was how bad it is. And this one is a Mark II. This one is a Mark I. This one came from like 1990 to 1992. This one came in like 1995 to 1998 or something. I cannot remember, but this one was older, and the earlier batches were more problematic and were more prone to overheating. It's not because this bus is noisy. It's just the overheating issue, and it was way more prevalent in this than this. So as much as this is like really one of my all-time favorite buses because W3 engine, it really sounds nice, but as much as it pains me to do, I have to put it at E. Just because of the overheating problem, it was like so bad. Now this one is it's a Dennis Dart. I've never ridden on this, but my friend put it at C tier. You know what? I'm just gonna take my friend's word for it since he has actually taken the Dennis Darts like a few times. I rode one in Hong Kong and it was pretty okay. Pretty okay. Don't really have anything bad to say about it, so I think it ends up here. Okay, I found another one. Okay, I'm just gonna like zoom in a little bit. Oops. So this one, there are two buses over here. On the left, there is Elbow, and on the right, there is Walter Alexander Strider. This one is Scania L113 CRL. So, okay, how do I even go about doing this? I'm not sure. Okay. If I were to rate the elbows, it would be in between D and E tier. And the reason for that is because that time when I took the bus on 859 in like 2006 when I was like 7 years old, I think. The bus, when it was idle, it vibrated a lot. Even worse than the KUBs, and it made me really uncomfortable. Like I legit felt sick when I rode the bus. And it was hot also. And what my friend told me was that elbows, these used to be non-air conditioned and then they converted it to air conditioned, like it was CAC. That's why you see like the window grills. It used to be like a two-piece window. I'm not sure if it's still two-piece, but yeah, basically it was a converted aircon bus. Okay, okay, like the even if it's two-piece, they were like locked. So for my younger viewers, the CAC, the converted air conversion of this and this, they had the window, and even the Volvo Mark II and Scania N113 CRB, I think. I think? Yeah, the CAC ones. Actually, wait, did the Scania N113 CRB, did that? I only remember there was NAC and OAC. I don't really remember any CACs. Mark II definitely had NAC and CAC. There were no OACs, I think. I think these ones had OAC and CAC. The NAC ones, they had that cream interior instead of like the white and gray. And this one became, the NAC became CAC. Yeah, I'm a little confused, but okay. So basically, for the converted aircon buses, they uh, yeah, I was talking about the window grill. They had the window grill over there. They locked the windows, so you couldn't even if you tried, you couldn't pry them open apart unless they are like unless someone fiddled with them or something, or they just wear and tear. It came the screws or something. It came loose. Then yeah, that's pretty much it. So elbow would be here, but okay, I'll just put it here because I'm rating the Walter Alexander Strider versions. They were quite solid. I'd say this one, it was almost as fast as this one if you have no speed limiter. And I think this one was way more solid than this one because at the very least, this one doesn't overheat. I'm not saying the elbow, I'm saying the Walter Alexander Strider version. Oh, I've rated all the single deck. Okay, let's just rate all the single deckers. Dennis Lens, D. Now, I would still put this over 0405 because this one was, as much as I like it, it was truly problematic. Now, this one, unfortunately, if I were to rate it as a whole, it would be in D tier. And the UMW versions, it really brought it down. It was because it vibrated a lot and it was flimsy. It was like a cheaply built bodywork, just like this one. KUB was from Malaysia, and this one was also from Malaysia, unfortunately. I love Malaysian buses, but like this one, in terms of bodywork, it was quite bad. The UK ones were like significantly better, but the UK ones, the leg room was quite bad, and I'm not even that tall. I'm only like 168 cm. And in my school days, I was like around 147 cm, and even back then, I already found it like really cramped. I took like TIB 1010Y on like 961 and 855 last time. Dennis Land's Volgren, I've never ridden them. I've seen one of them in real life on 171, but that's it. So unfortunately, because of like reasons, and even if you see it as a whole, it just belongs in D because unfortunately it's a bus that just didn't live up to expectation. I believe the Dennis Lancers in the UK are much better than these. I mean, the bodywork was from UK, but I don't know how like their seating configuration was like. Maybe you have to ask Maxon about this. Now, Linker, LM312 or whatever the model is called, F tier. This was like one of the last bus they made before they went like bankrupt, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't really have much to say about this. You can ask my friends why. They would tell you this bus is absolute crap. It is still marginally better than that converted electric bus 3100, which was from 3075, but this belongs in F. Now, Mercedes-Benz OC500 100 LE. This one, D tier. I love the ZF EcoMat, but in terms of bodywork, this one vibrates. This one also vibrates. Like the whole bus just shakes. I'm not sure if it has something to do with the fact that this bus is like really tall, but and then its bodywork is not good also. It's just a shaking bus, and I don't really know if I should elaborate on this, but just take one for yourself. You might enjoy the sound, but you might not enjoy the ride. So yeah. Uh, and this one, oops, no, here. This thing and this thing, they're equally as crap, but this one just slightly edges out. But this one, cheaply built, the bus looks, it just sounds like as if it's gonna fall apart anytime. The plastic just vibrating, the shaking noise, the bus just sounds really plastic and not sturdy at all. You should really take one to experience it for yourself. I like these buses, but the MMC one in Southeast Asia, I'm not sure from Malaysia, but the Malaysia one was like Gemilang bodywork or something, but this one is objectively crap. What else do we have left? Okay, so Volvo B10 TL, Dennis Trident 3. In the context of Southeast Asia, these were rejects from Hong Kong. That's why they had Hong Kong specifications. These were Dupo Medsec 5000 or 5500, I can't remember, but it was 5 something. This one, the one in this picture is 3500. This is like 5000 something, I think. So yeah, that's for bodywork. This one's Voith, this one's also Voith. This one is a mixture of okay, SBS 9888Y was ZF. The rest, the production batch, were Voiths, but some of them they got retrofitted with ZF. And 9889 was Voith, but it was a different bodywork. 9889 was like a demonstrator. It was like a test of the CDG bodywork for this one over here. So, but this one's a B9TL, this one's a B10TL. They tested a B9TL bodywork, a bodywork that was meant to be for this one on one of these buses. But it looks different, so yeah. But now we're talking about production batch. So these buses, this one's a vacuum cleaner, this one is also a vacuum cleaner, and by vacuum cleaner I mean it is loud, especially when it goes like 60 kilometers per hour. It is loud. But the saving grace for this bus is that the seats were the best. Yeah, it was sluggish, but it was a comfortable ride. You can fall asleep on it, especially on rainy days. Especially on like city direct did they even run on city direct services? I forgot, but this would have been good. This one, they were like kind of problematic, but at least this one doesn't overheat like this or this, so I'm just putting it here, I guess. Okay. So my friend said this one is Volvo Olympian 2 axles. Okay. I'm just gonna rate 3 axles first. Okay. The Leyland ones are definitely on B tier, but the Volvo ones, they were underpowered. 245 horsepower. So it belongs here, unfortunately. But other than that, it's okay. Now, if this one had like an in-between of C and D, I would put it there. But I'll just put it at C because they were too light. Like in terms of the weight, they were too light and kind of like flipped easily. There were a few incidents of flipping. But other than that, there's nothing much I can fault about when it comes to this bus. So yeah. Okay, what do we have left? Uh, since I put A95 here, okay, I guess Euro 6, Man 822, it's overrated, but to be honest, I don't really have anything to say about this. It's not like terrible like E and F, but I'll just put it here. Yes, rides can be problematic sometimes. Some units, they have like loud radiators and stuff, but as a whole, this one belongs in A tier. And so does the Mendy. These two are easily one of the most like sturdiest buses you can ever find, and this was legitimately the glory era of like, I don't know why I keep saying era, it's like era, come on. This was really the glory era. 2015, okay, I know the demonstrator arrived in 2013, but 2012 to 2015 was really the golden era of buses, and you can see why. I think this one is still a lot better than this one. And I think most people would agree as well, and like objectively speaking, not based on our personal preferences. So yeah, here you go, the tier list. I apologize if this was like a little small and hard to read, but I think you know, just turn on the volume and you probably can hear my commentary. Yeah, I don't know what to say, but um if you want, I will put the link in the description and you can try it for yourself, I guess. Bye bye.